my name's Randolph. Welcome to another edition of Now Playing. We have Nigel Lowrie here from Devolver Digital.
Thanks for having me.
And we're about to be playing a game called Shadow Warrior, right?
Yeah. Okay. Shadow Warrior, the reboot of the 1997 3D Realms classic.
Okay, but it is brand new though, right?
Brand
you're not
new.
showing us a game from 97 today.
No, they've actually taken a few little bits from 97 and tucked them away, the pixels and the sprites away. There's some secrets in there, but the rest of it, 99.9% of it is brand new.
99.9% is brand new. Yeah. Okay, so what are you going to show us from Shadow Warrior today?
The first thing I'd like to do is show off the kind of intro level to set it up and get an idea of what Shadow Warrior is and what it's about. And then I'll probably just skip ahead to some other levels in the game to kind of show you guys some stuff that we haven't actually really shown before.
Okay, well let's start with history then, because
Sure.
we did mention this is, you know, the original game came out in 97, right? So this was a 3D Realms classic back then, you know, with Duke Nukem. And,
exactly, it's a cousin to Duke Nukem, Blood, Redneck Rampage, those build engine games.
Yeah, yeah. So why bring it back?
Well, we're big fans of the original game. I think we were talking about that earlier. Fans of Shadow Warrior, and we were looking for, you know, we had some great success with bringing back Serious Sam 3, and that was another game, this old school shooter that we thought was, you know, really powerful, and there was a market for. And so we looked at it and we said, you know, Shadow Warrior did a lot of really neat things, right? It had a very unique setting, unique protagonists, unique weapons, and it was fun, and it was something we wanted to explore. So we, at the same time, actually, I had been playing a game called Hard Reset from a team called Flying Wild Hog in Warsaw, and I was like, this is awesome. So I reached out to them, said, I'd love to work with you guys. And they're like, well, what do you want to do? And I'm like, well, one of the things we've been kind of thinking about is rebooting Shadow Warrior. And the creative leads there were like, that was one of our favorites. So it was just kind of a perfect time to go do that. And been working on it for about 18 months now. It's going to launch next Thursday, and we're pretty excited about it.
Now, I remember playing this way back in 97. I think I've still got the original game at home. What will I recognize from that first game to now?
Well, when we were first looking at it, we kind of deconstructed all the unique elements, what we thought made it really interesting. So there's this setting, this Japanese setting. The main character of Lo Wang and the protagonist, Lo Wang, and the antagonist, which ends up being Zilla, his employer. And those two pieces we kept in there, and then some of the weaponry, and everything else has been kind of reimagined, a new story, a really rich story actually compared. There was no story in the original per se. It's got the humor, it's got the gore, which you'll probably see here any second now.
Any second now. Yeah. Okay, so we're in Lo Wang's eyes right now.
Yeah. Right? So right now, this is the intro to Stanley's The Touch, which everyone loves, and this is when we're introducing kind of Lo Wang and setting the tone for you know, what kind of person he is. He's kind of a jerk, but that's the point. You know, he's younger than he was originally. I
was going to say, yeah, he's a much younger man than the original Lo Wang.
Still throwing down the goatee though, so that's what's really important. But yeah, he's younger. He's crass. But he is, you know, he's a badass and he knows it. Yeah. And so that's kind of you know, what he's been set up as and what we wanted to continue with from the original game.
Is he still rocking the full dragon tattoo thing that's going on?
Yeah, actually right now he has like very little tattoos, but throughout the game, one of the things you upgrade is these magical powers. Okay. And you receive a new tattoo as you add powers to it. So it's kind of cool. In the upgrade menu you see tattoos getting added.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. So this is kind of him, this is kind of the first level where you've received instruction from your employer to go retrieve a sword. So this is immediately one of the things you recognize that we wanted to be in the first scene was the cherry blossoms, because that was something from, you know, very iconic from the original and kind of a setting you knew. And I mentioned earlier, there's secrets tucked away. I'll give one away right here. You walk through this waterfall. They've actually taken areas from the original game and you know, brought those back to life. Right. So you're used simply just for kind of secret areas, but you walk back out and you're in this rich kind of colorful environment. So Lo Wang is headed to make a deal for a sword, a legendary sword that his employer wants. And that's, again, not too dissimilar from the original game. What happens is there's a lot more of an expansion of that story, you know, that happens, and you end up fighting demons, Yakuza, and everything like that.
And I guess one of the key things from that original game was the ability that it let you choose between, you know, melee sword attacks and I guess like going in with gunplay, right? So that's still a major part of the game?
That is a huge part of it. One of the things we were discussing from the outset was the katana was really fun in the original, but it was still your basic melee weapon. It was something when you ran out of ammo, you would more or less jump to until you got some more ammo. So what we wanted to do is, how can we make that rich, and how can we make that experience really, really fun? And I think that's what we think we've accomplished here, is if you power up the katana throughout the game, it actually is the best weapon in the game.
Yep.
You will choose this in huge battles over anything else because of how quickly it can dispatch folks and how easy it is to use. And you actually learn skills and you learn different ways to use it. And even from the outset, you'll see here you have a quick slash and a strong slash, and it's depending on the direction you go. Is that actually the direction he slashes? So it's pretty deep for an arcade style shooter like that.
So you can play the entire game with the katana if you wanted to?
There's a projectile power that you get as well. So even when there's things that you have to hit in the distance, it still can be used.
Ah, okay.
So this is just the intro sequence here. You're learning about the katana. You're introduced to these yakuza that you're battling.
Badass yakuza there.
Yeah. So I'm just going to go ahead and cut to the chase here. So this is going to teach you immediately, why you need to be using the katana.
Okay.
So
like you said, this is the first encounter in the game. Though,
yeah,
right?
very first encounter in the game.
Okay.
And as you'll see, you can dodge, you can lop off heads, and actually pretty much any body part.
So explain how you're doing this.
So it's really simple controls. If I'm moving left or right is depending on how he swings the katana. I can also use the right mouse button to charge, which gives me a more powerful attack, which is usually a one-kill thing. I mean, I lopped off his leg and an arm with one shot.
Okay.
The other thing you can learn is special moves. So by double tapping one of the directional keys and holding the left mouse button, I'm able to line up an attack like that let me clear out three guys at once.
Heads off, right?
There's another stab move here
Okay.
that pretty devastating.
You've got that from the start?
No, you did not get this from the start. For the purpose of this demo, I wanted to go ahead and show off some of these things. You'll be collecting them over time. You'll be collecting resources in the game that will allow you to upgrade as you see fit. It won't always be, wow, look at that.
Wow, that's cool.
It won't always be the sword you want to upgrade. You may want to upgrade some skills. You'll have different magic powers like this, basically a force push, things like that. And all your weapons, your guns have upgrades as well. So it's your choice on what kind of style you want to play. And I think what we've seen, a lot of people have really enjoyed using the katana because it's a fun thing. It's a fresh pace fresh pace from the usual gunplay that you have in a lot of arcade style shooters.
Now I see a lot of limbs and heads sort of falling off here. Are you sort of affecting that? Like, can you choose which limbs? Or
if you target your attacks, you can definitely just depending on what you're pointed at, you can take their legs right off. Demons later in the game that you're going to run into here in a bit. I'm actually just going to skip ahead so we can get to that. But you'll run into these demons and you can swipe their legs off, and they'll still continue to crawl after you. You can go after arms. You can take obviously heads off. Usually solves most problems. But yeah, you can target those things. And same thing with the guns. You'll be able to use your handgun, for example, and point at the leg, shoot it right off. There's something like 32 different pieces that can come off these enemies, and the larger enemies have that as well, which is kind of something we really wanted to make sure that when you got to the larger enemies, you could still cut off an arm. You could still do these things.
I just saw that little intro line there, which I guess sort of points to a bit of the humor that I guess Shadow Warrior is known for. It was kind of, even back then, really un-PC, right? Yeah.
The original game was very, it was a like Duke Nukem. Shadow Warrior was very much, based in this what I'd call, I guess, 90s humor. And
90s humor.
Things that were crass just for maybe the shock value a little bit too. One of the things that we set out from the start was we like this character of Lo Wang because he is different than your usual space marine and things like that. But we wanted to make sure that we didn't go in too far in one direction with that humor. We wanted to make sure he can be crass, he can be funny, but we didn't have to get to the point where it was I guess humor that we didn't really want to be involved with. And I think that's what we want to do is keep it funny, keep it light, and make him a real character. To be honest with you, that was the idea.
So his it's mainly that he's a crass, violent dude now. Is that right?
Yeah, he's a little bit of a jerk. You're going to run into enemies. Or I'm sorry, not enemies, but other characters within the game that make that comment of what a jerk he is, and they clearly have history with some of these guys. So this is where I've got the revolver, by the way, and it's worth noting that every gun has an alt fire. This one particularly being this quick.
Just unload everything at once.
Unload everything at once.
Right.
And as you saw, like I could, let's see if I can actually live up to what I said.
So this is your
shoot off his leg.
Okay. This is your basic starter firearm, though, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, definitely. And
did you say these are upgradable as well? Yeah. Okay.
You'll be able to upgrade. So you'll initially start with once you find the automatic, you'll be able to pull in upgrade to get two. So over time.
And I can see you're dual wielding as well. Right?
Oh yeah, exactly. Over time you'll be able to have two of those.
Okay.
Which I kind of gave myself in the beginning because I'm a dirty cheater. But you know what? when you work for the publisher, you're allowed to use the cheats.
All right, so I see you're switching between swords and ranged weapons. Is there an advantage to using one or the other? Like, do you?
Yeah.
Like, I know I asked before. You can play the entire thing with swords, but you know, is it harder, easier to do that? Like,
yeah, to keep gameplay and combat interesting, the game will throw different kind of scenarios at you. So, for example, so far I've really only got a bunch of smaller enemies, and it's really an advantage to use a katana at that point because you're able to dispatch them, especially when you power it up, dispatch them relatively quickly.
Yep.
When you want, the guns were all designed to be able to take care of certain things. So you'll run into enemies. This is me, by the way, learned a spell just here, charging up.
Okay,
my
that's
health.
healing. All
yeah,
right.
And there's still pickups, but this spell can be used to a certain degree to pull you back up to a certain amount.
Okay, that's not based on any meter. You can just stand there and heal. Is that
well,
right?
you can stand there and heal, but I have it charged up all the way. It only normally gives you a little bit at a time.
Oh, okay.
And also the more awesome katana moves / magic that you use, the more you enrage the enemies, and they actually turn into a second set. You'll see them charge, float into the air, charge up, and become more difficult. Yeah. So the more that you kind of use your special attacks, the more they're allowed to use theirs.
Okay.
But to answer your question, yeah, you want to use different enemies. Will have different things you can damage based on what weapon you're using.
Yeah.
You'll get the larger enemies that have shields, for example, and it takes a lot of katana swipes to break those shields. So you may want to shoot, go to this quad barrel shotgun here, and bust that shield down before you start making an attempt at taking out the enemy itself.
So how many weapons will you have in the game?
There is a total of about 12 weapons, I think, when you include some of the from the original game. In fact, if now's a good time, I'm going to jump us ahead to some serious action.
And obviously, this is not like a modern shooter in which you can only have 2 weapons at once.
No, that's ridiculous.
You're rocking all of the weapons.
Yeah, you're rocking all weapons at once.
Yeah.
You're holding katanas, you're holding guns, rocket launchers, and if you're a fan of the original, you remember that you could actually hold demon heads and demon hearts and use those as kind of mystical weapons. And I'll show those here in a second.
Okay. We have one person on the chat, Skrillback, who I think got interested when we said quad barrel shotgun. He wants to know more about the quad barrel shotgun.
I don't need to talk about it. I can just show you the quad barrel shotgun.
Show us the damage of a quad barrel shotgun.
In the original game, I believe it was called the riot gun.
Yep.
And it had 4 barrels, and you could shoot one barrel or all 4 at once. Well, we've done the same here. Now it's just kind of called the quad barrel shotgun.
Yep.
And I can fire off 1 round. Oh, I hit that.
There you go.
That worked out really nice, actually. So you can reload whenever you want, but if you shoot all 4 barrels like I did there, it's pretty much instant elimination of anything in front of it.
It's a juicer, basically.
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
Okay.
And if you the problem is it becomes you're less susceptible because you have now emptied the thing. And it takes a little longer. So there's that enemy charging up. So he's faster, meaner, more aggressive.
So that is an individual enemy doing that, not a special enemy that's charging these little guys?
Well, that is actually in the game as well. So the enemies individually can charge up based on your performance. If you're just really kicking it and killing them, you'll actually move up.
Okay, and here we go. Yeah, this is from the original game as well, right?
Yep.
You have certain body parts that you can use as weapons as well?
So earlier, I must have killed an enemy in which their heart came out, so I just replenished. You only get 1 heart at a time, but you actually pick them up from the enemies you dispatch.
And tell me its power.
So the power of let's say, the heart, basically, if anything that's close by, this guy is going to explode. It's simply a one-time kill. It's a kind of an easy way out to get you out of trouble.
Clears a room.
Yeah, the head, if you remember from the original, fires just basically disaster at things and tears them apart.
I'm assuming you still get that from a boss, though, right? Like that head just ain't going to drop out of the crate.
No. We'll run into one in a little bit here. They're called the Warlords, and if you use a katana and behead them, you're given a kind of a reward. So the whole point, you'll see occasionally after every battle, there's a rating system of up to 5 stars, and that's how you gather resources to kind of level stuff up. Okay. And the more damage you do, and the more different kind of types of attacks that you do, the higher rating you get. So by using katana, by beheading things, by shooting things down, or doing something in a somewhat stylish manner, you're going to be rewarded with more points to upgrade yourself.
Okay. So can you outline that again? What sort of things can you upgrade for yourself?
So there's different resources that upgrade your skills. So your skills meaning things like, whoa, that guy dive bombed me. The magic there that it does push. There's another magic that will regenerate.
Okay.
So that's kind of the one thing you can do. The other thing is the sword. So to be able to learn new moves like, oh, I got to do it. Sorry.
You're putting the
there
hacks
we go.
in?
Yeah, putting that. You learn those kind of moves. And the last thing you can upgrade is the guns. The guns, the quad barrel shotgun does not start as a quad barrel shotgun. It actually has 2 barrels like any other shotgun, but you upgrade it with a lot of different pieces. The crossbow, for example, when you start the crossbow, it simply has your basic crossbow. You can upgrade it so you can hold the mouse button to charge it up and pin things to wall. It's a devastating attack. And same thing goes for explosive tip arrows on it.
Okay.
Secrets abound, so this money will help me upgrade my weapons.
So can we just clarify again how many weapons in the game? You said more than 20, right?
No, about 12.
12.
I think
Okay.
it's 12, but you also get some kind of one-time special use ones, but you have, I'll show them all right here actually. We have our sword, we have our revolver.
Yep.
We have our machine gun.
And these are upgraded versions you're showing now.
Yeah, these are the most powerful versions of them. This is the aforementioned crossbow.
It's something a little bit bigger.
This is the gentleman that I removed a head from earlier.
Okay.
And see, now he is able to charge and enrage enemies around him. So it's important.
Right.
The strategy here is to try and take him out as quickly as possible. Now that's not that easy, as you can tell, because I'm throwing explosive tip bullets into him.
Yeah.
But so we have. See, I cut off his arm as well.
Okay.
I'll go back to looking at the different weapons so I can kind of show them off. This is a good time to show it.
Okay.
And then we have the aforementioned shotgun that does a lot of damage.
Yeah.
Then we have flamethrower, which we are pretty happy with this flamethrower because it actually does not only set things on fire, which affects their HP, but it's alt fires just throwing the entire gas can at them, and it lights up everything around it.
So was that enemy reacting to his shield being on fire just then?
Yeah.
I saw he was trying to shake it.
Yeah,
is that right?
Yeah, the enemies will. They've got a lot of different states. Some are in the more aggressive states that we talk about. Some are more in a defense state.
Yep.
And I'll be able to hopefully. There I go. Someone else took him out, but I cleared off his shield, so that changes his attack pattern.
Okay.
These particular enemies are going to stay behind the shield until you get rid of it.
Right.
And then as soon as you get an opening, you take care of it.
I notice you cleaning your katana once in a while. Does that give you any benefits, or is that just a cool thing to do?
It's funny. It started as a cool thing to do. There's a lot of fun little things that Flying Wild Hog put in here to just, I don't know, make you feel like a badass. So that was cleaning off. But the most recent discussion, I think the plan is you might get a little bit of health bonus by doing that. It's just something kind of as a treat to again as long as you feel like a badass like this, you should be rewarded for something.
Yeah. I should also note that everyone on the stream, we are giving away codes. Giving away codes for the game. We'll be giving away 20 after the stream ends. So make sure you're hanging around. We're going to reward it to some of the sort of better commenters out there. So hang around. Give us some comments, and also give us a like on our Twitch page too if you're watching us. But right now you're watching Shadow Warrior, and Nigel is just killing everything in sight right now. So what is this weapon you're looking at? It's a It's a rocket launcher, and what I'm able to do is it holds 3 at a time, and I can actually fill it with all 3, which I'm doing now. You can see on the side of the weapon actually it shows that all 3 are full. And unleash it. Its upgrade is that it has a laser sight, which gives you the fun thing where you can fire something off to the distance and then bring it right back to this guy. Okay.
So I'm charging back up because I took a lot of damage there. So my risk of charging up is enraging them. And when any enemy becomes enraged, it becomes that much more difficult to battle.
And let's just clarify, you have got some dev cheats on, which is why you're not dying
absolutely.
immediately, right? So the game isn't this easy.
No,
when
it's
you're
not
at
on.
the end
It's not on God mode, but I've also given myself plenty of power.
Yep.
So it is have it on normal. It's genuine to its roots. It's an old school shooter.
Yeah.
And you will take some damage.
And I guess that's the thing, right? I mean, this is not a Call of Duty or Battlefield. This is a different experience, and that's a new enemy as well.
Yeah, it's a new enemy type.
Okay.
She also has katanas, and she also has the ability to disappear, which makes it turn into a little of a game here where she's going to come back up. But if you catch her at the right spot like that, take care of her.
So for people who aren't as old as me and didn't experience the the Shadow Warrior Duke Nukem days back in the 90s, how would you describe the gameplay in this? Like, why should they play it?
Well, a lot of what, and I appreciate the modern shooter, the Call of Duty and the Battlefields as much as anybody. This is a different kind of experience. The experience of a Serious Sam or Painkiller, in this case Shadow Warrior, comes from the strategy of the reason you have all your weapons at once is not because it's a conscious design decision, because you need to decide what weapons are right for that situation. So that's where a lot of the strategy comes in. It's obviously about movement. There's no cover. I mean, there's this right here, for example. You have this to get in the way, but this is not about taking cover. This is about getting in the thick of it and managing these kind of the enemies that are approaching you, and you're making sure you're using the right weapon for the job. So I have all these guys. If I throw an explosion in the middle, that takes care of them. Same thing with the katana. Now that I realize, see, that guy got a hold of me with this little grappling hook.
Okay.
But that's kind of the gameplay. It's nonstop. So this is where I would have died had I not been a filthy cheater like I am, and it granted me life again. But yeah, it's all about using the right weapon at the right time, and managing kind of crowds, and that's a lot different from just kind of poking up over a cover and taking pot shots now and then. This is kind of the Doom style. Quake style action. It keeps it going. And
one of the very old school things is an actual health bar.
Yeah,
right.
Imagine that. Yeah, you can actually look at the health bar, see where you are in relation to dying, and manage against that. Do I want to get this close to this guy if I only had 30 health points? No. But if I have, I'm at 80 right now, so I feel comfortable, because if it was one of those slams that won't kill me immediately.
Okay. Is there any multiplayer at all as part of this?
We discussed that up front, and one of the thoughts was this is, still a relatively small team. And we wanted to make this experience long. We wanted to make it interesting, and something worth your time. And there's a lot that's sometimes single player sadly gets dismissed. And so what we wanted to do is the other way. We wanted to make this a really big single-player experience. There's no multiplayer right now. That doesn't mean there could be an expansion of some form of co-op or multiplayer to this or a sequel, because a lot of people have asked, once they've gotten to this gunplay, swordplay aspect, people are saying how great would it be to have a versus match on that. So we've kind of discussed that as well.
Are you guys talking about how long it'll actually take to finish the campaign in this?
We've done a lot of testing, for example, and play testing to make sure people first of all like it and understand it, but most folks, depending on, there's difficulty levels like any good old school action game, and depending on how long or how skilled you are and what setting you put it on, it's going to be about 7 to 10 hours. And if you're depending on, if you start dying a lot, you're obviously, this is the guy who lost his legs.
All right. He's still got one.
Oh yeah,
he hasn't lost both.
Well,
he's just being lazy.
Not yet.
Okay.
Ooh, that was quite the explosion. But yeah, about 7 to 10 hours is probably safe. And that's not finding, another trademark of the old school shooter was the secrets. So there's all sorts of secrets hidden. To 100% this game is going to require more than one playthrough, maybe 3, just to find little things tucked here and there.
And there'll be nods to, I guess, that era of gameplay. Right?
Oh yeah,
I mean, like when you showed the waterfall, basically, that's like 90s textures abounded, right?
Yeah, exactly. There's a lot of nods to the original. There's some, nods to, there's a Legend of Zelda nod in here. There's, they want to have, it's a good looking game. It looks like a very modern game, but at the same time, they want to make sure that, it doesn't take itself seriously. So, difficulty levels, how many have you got? 4.
4. Okay, can you carry upgrades across? This is a question from Mutaboy on the stream.
You can carry them downwards, for example. So if you did hard, you can obviously go down to normal. You'd have all your stuff, but you won't have. You need to be unlocking them from level to level.
Okay, why is that?
Just because as long as you've beaten a level, you can go back and play it. I think if what you're asking is you keep your actual upgrades, yes, I think you can do that. But I think you need you can't jump to level 9 from level 6 if you haven't on hard if you haven't beaten it, up to that point yet.
So sorry, just to clarify, what stage of the game is this now?
This particular build actually is. Sorry, I'm going to jump ahead for you again. This particular build is from about a month ago. The game itself is almost done. They're doing the finishing. It comes out next Thursday. So the game is all they're doing now is just last minute QA testing and compatibility to make sure everything looks smooth.
Scroll back from the chat wants to know: are there boss fights and are they over the top?
Yes, and yes. If anyone has played Flying Wild Hog's original game, it was called Hard Reset, and there are some towering bosses there, and that is a lot of what you'll see here.
Okay.
I'm not going to show those simply because they're pretty epic and pretty long, in the sense that there's, they're almost like a level unto themselves, because they've compared it to, the idea of the Shadow of the Colossus, how you had to take something down over time.
Okay.
That's kind of what you're doing in boss fights here, and there's basically three brother gods that you need to take down, and they're all about 10 times your height.
So like multi-stage boss fights that go over a level, is that right?
Exactly.
Okay, all right.
Let's see if I can get rid of these guys with some good old-fashioned explosions.
So now we're in chapter 9, yeah?
Yeah, we've moved ahead. I just jumped ahead. You're still going after a piece of the sword. This time we were on that dock before. We've moved to a different part, and a more or less a typhoon tsunami has swept in.
Yep.
And so I'm battling a little bit through the elements, and there's as you just saw, there's a conflict between the human faction and the demons. So I'm kind of caught in the middle of it.
Yep.
But one of the things you got to do is deal with both of them. So they'll both attack you. Neither of them are happy about you as a character. So they're both trying to take you out. So there's no friendlies in this. Basically, there's some NPCs that you'll run into, but everybody that is wielding a weapon is an enemy for you.
Just a reminder, guys, we are giving away 20 codes for Shadow Warrior. So just hang out. We'll let you know in a bit more detail about how we're giving those out. But it'll be after the stream. Speaking of stream, the guys on the stream seem to love the sword. We have another question about the sword, which is, can you use it on the huge epic bosses that you're doing?
Yeah, so the bosses...
that'll be way tougher though then.
It'll be very difficult, because a lot of their hit points are pretty high up in the air. But it requires this move here, where you charge the sword and throw kind of this blade out at you. Now you can use... Ran on the wall.
Okay. Alien there?
Yeah.
Okay.
But yes, you can absolutely use the sword. It's just it's a matter of you have to be a pretty skilled swordsman at that point to do it. But yes, you can.
Right. We're getting a lot more questions now, so do you mind if I throw a few more questions at you now?
Do it. That's why I'm here.
Okay, so Over One says, are there checkpoints in the levels, or do you have to play the whole level again if you die?
There are. I have good news for fans of old school shooters. There's not only checkpoints, but there's also quick saves. Okay. So you can do both. The game will automatically save at certain points for you. You'll be able to go in and load from those points. And if you have a specific area that you want to save from, you can just, with the tap of a button, save from right there.
Yeah. Another one that we sort of answered at the start of the stream, but it might be worthwhile just to recap, which is, what kind of upgrades do the weapons have, and can you actually see the change in the weapon in game?
So, for example, this weapon upgrade, I'll use the machine gun here as an example. There's a laser sight on it that you get. That actually happens. You actually see that attached to the weapon itself. Okay. The dual Uzis that's an upgrade you get. Clearly having the second one is there. When you get to the the shotgun here, it's actually double stacked right now. So originally when you have it, it's about half the size. Okay. Vertically speaking. So you will see all these upgrades as they happen.
Okay. So if anyone else has any questions, feel free to ask. So we do have someone else here, Slab Roller. Is Lo Wang, and once again we answered this a little bit at the start, but it might be good to recap. Is Lo Wang going to have his old racial dirty comments that he made in the older game in this game?
No, there's not that particular line of humor, but there is definitely the crass humor. He does have some. He'll have some dirty talk now and then.
Some dirty talk?
Yeah, some dirty talk. Some adult talk. Let's put it that way. Now and then.
Yeah. So send the kids to bed when you're playing.
Yeah, this is a game for adults for sure. Right. But no, the particular the kind of the more racial stereotyping. We made him a real character. We made him not just a conglomeration of kind of those types of stereotypes. We made him a character. He's something a little more real.
Okay. And just to clarify, only PC right now, right?
Yeah, only PC right now. The team has development kits for next gen. They've taken a look at it. That is certainly in the plan. Okay. But for this year, it's going to be a PC only shooter. Okay.
So there's a possibility for next gen, but not current gen. Is that right?
No, it's not current gen. This was built on the Roadhog engine, which is Flying Wild Hog's proprietary engine, and it's something they built spec for next gen. Right now, I'm running it for the purpose of this stream. I'm running it just simply the high setting, not even the ultra setting. Okay. So to get the most out of the game, game, it would require the next gen systems.
Okay. One more question from Mutaboy. Don't know if you can answer this one, but he says he's heard of an arena mode coming later on.
Yeah,
is that right?
It's nothing. It's something that the team Flying Wild Hog did for Hard Reset. Once they got the main campaign mode out, people asked, because it's an old school shooter, for a survival type mode, arena thing, and that is definitely in the works. It won't be at launch. It'll be kind of just a free upgrade.
Okay. Do you have an approximate?
I'd say within the first month.
Okay.
Yeah, and then we've got quite a few. While there's no multiplayer, we have quite a few fun things in play. In fact, I will. Okay. Once I say, let me
this is the closest I've seen you come to dying.
Yeah,
Nigel.
I know this is a little embarrassing. Let me just do this. But one of the fun things we do, because the katana is so central.
Yeah.
I'm going to show you something here. We haven't shown this quite yet.
All right. What do you got?
If you pre-order the game, you actually get what we're calling the Zilla laser katana. So
lasers.
Yeah. So what we have is the ability to switch out those melee weapons.
Okay.
And we're doing the plan is kind of to do a fun one almost every month. So it's simply a skin. It has this one in particular has no effect on gameplay itself.
Yep.
But you can see it's a different kind of sword. It's actually going to glow and be kind of cool in the final game. We have the Serious Sam 3 sledgehammer in here.
Okay.
We have a couple other large or other franchises have lent us their melee weapons. So every month or so we're going to be adding a new melee weapon to the mix, and some of them will have kind of custom things you can do. This one in particular is just simply a skin.
Okay. It sort of looks like the Metal Gear Revengeance, right? The sword that Raiden has in
I'm not going to say that wasn't an influence. It looks like it was.
It's an inspiration, maybe.
Yeah.
Okay, all right. And can you still decapitate with the sledgehammer?
Yes. Yeah, they didn't make so you take a head off with just in real life, if you throw a sledgehammer to someone's head, you might actually take it off.
Okay,
so
all right.
You can
so
definitely
not just squashing him, you're actually getting it clean off.
Yeah.
All right, okay.
We wouldn't want to take away the fun of that.
All right. So Nigel,
yes.
Releasing next week
yes.
on Steam. Do you have details on price at all? That you want to share right now?
Yeah, the game for full price is $40. It is actually available, as I mentioned, for pre-order on Steam right now. That gives you 15% off, so it's closer to $30 right now.
And let's talk about that again, because you said with the pre-order you get the different sword skin, right?
Yeah, they have this that laser sword that I was using there is a sword skin. There's a special edition as well that comes with an art book and a soundtrack, and with that you actually get a skin for the Serious Sam 3 sledgehammer and the Hotline Miami katana.
The Hotline Miami katana.
Yeah.
All right. Okay.
So then those are, and if you pre-order from GOG, you get instead of the laser sword, you get the classic katana. It's a katana from the original game. It's styled like that one with the serrated edge.
Okay.
That's for the GOG's roots is in good old games. So we figured it'd be appropriate if they had the kind of classic sword.
Okay. Cool. Is there anything else you want to show us, Nigel?
This is as far as I wanted to take it, because the next part we haven't shown yet. We're probably not going to show until the game's out.
Yeah.
So I wanted to take you to this kind of storm, and that was it. Here's an exploding enemy. Those are
all right.
But yeah, that's about it.
Well, thank you very much for showing us Shadow Warrior.
I appreciate it.
Let's recap. It's out on PC.
Yeah.
Next Thursday on a variety of platforms. Can you summarize for me?
If you can go to Steam, you can go to GOG, you can go to Humble Store. In fact, if you go to ShadowWarrior.com, it has all the places you can buy it right there.
Okay, well, thank you very much for your time. Thanks, guys. That was Shadow Warrior. For more information, check out GameSpot.